You're listening to the Show We Go Baseball podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 16 of To the Show We Go with Ed Hand and myself, Andrew Parker. If you haven't got a chance to check out episode 15 yet, we had the Red Sox 2023 second round pick, Nazan Zanatello, on. From Ed, I don't know if you know, but I think that might have been his first podcast appearance.
I mean, it sure looked it just from how that went. It did look like that. But I mean, that's the case with everybody in the draft class. We had kind of the same thing with like Trevor O'Donnell and Zach Fogel when we had them on. So it's an art form. He'll get better at it the more he does it.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 18 years old. It's kind of telling. We were another episode before that, we had Hunter Dobbins, and just like obviously just the age difference there, and just like how Hunter's been in the system for a while. But that leads me to another guy who was also in Portland with Hunter, Ryan Zeferjahn. Ryan, just wanted to start off here by asking you, how did 2023 go for you?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. And 2023, was kind of ups and down. The last week of spring training, I had a knee injury kind of pop up, so I got a delayed start to the year. And then, throughout the year, I think obviously the game of baseball is up and down, how you deal with failures and everything. So for me, I think for the most part, it went pretty good. I had some rough ones that, I had to get over, but for the most part, I stayed consistent, kind of did my job in the bullpen for, what my role was this year. And, I was pretty happy with how it went. I knew it could have gone better. And I think, from what I saw, I know what I need to fix coming into this offseason and, heading into next year to, kind of have a big year. It's a big year for me coming up. So I think I learned a lot. And for me, it was a good stepping stone in the right direction.
So I got to see you pitch last year in Greenville. And I'm going to tell you, you made me look kind of dumb because I had told my friend that I was going with, like, okay, this guy, Zeferjahn, good stuff, but he's starting today. I don't know how that's going to go for him. They don't profile him as being much of a starter. And you came in and you absolutely shut down Hudson Valley and just made me look pretty foolish there. But this year you spent the season in the bullpen. Do you find it to be more difficult coming out of the pen like that and not being in that routine of being a starter, or is it all the same for you?
I think it's all the same for me. It's completely different. I'd say even lifestyles. Like as a starter, you throw once a week, and you got to get your body ready. You have 5-6 days to get your body ready. As a reliever, it's like pretty much an everyday thing. You got to get ready to go. And I think the way I trended out of college, got bigger, bigger body, that the reliever standpoint was going to be better for me down the road. And when you saw me, I think I was kind of like spot starting. I was starting last year back in, long relief. I kind of was all over. And I think, they kind of told me going into this last year, like the bullpen's kind of where you're going to be. And, I think that was best for me to kind of go in there 1-2 innings, kind of let the adrenaline go, let it loose. And then, kind of see how the first inning went, and if I could get 2, go from there. So I think going forward, I love the bullpen. Go out there, do your job, and be ready for the next day. And we haven't got to experience the back-to-backs really yet, even in AA. So I think that'd be the next big step, is being able to see how I bounce back. In those big games with the playoffs going on, those guys are throwing 5 out of 7 days. You got to be able to recover, see how you can do on back-to-back, even 3 days in a row. So I think that'll be kind of the next step for me in the reliever standpoint.
I've been looking at a lot of Arizona Fall League stuff this year, and you were a part of the AFL last season. Do you think that being a part of that last fall kind of helped you? I know you said you got off to a slow start because of an injury this year, but do you think what was the experience like, I guess, going through the AFL and then heading into the spring training? Like, did you feel a little more, were you more fatigued? Were you more fresh? Or were you just more in a roll?
I think, the Fall League was a great experience. And last year was kind of the first year I never really shut down from throwing. It's kind of an all year keep going. And in my mind, it was kind of like, you think you need a break, But, keeping the arm movement, it wasn't a bad thing. And I kind of, showed some good things in the fall league. And then I actually went up the drive line for a month to train up there in January before the season. And, coming into spring training, I've kind of been a start slow guy because in Kansas it's cold. I'm throwing inside, it takes me a little bit, but for some reason it just kind of clicked. And, the velo was up right at the beginning of spring training. Everything was up. I was pitching in big league games, and it was kind of, nice to see it get going early. So I think the fall league is definitely something that helps guys kind of, if they didn't get as many innings or, need to work on something, it's definitely something that you get to go to, experience new things, whatever happens there. It's kind of a development / you're facing the best of the best. And when I was there, Jordan Walker, Eduardo Julian, like those guys were all there, and to be able to face them and see what you can do against them, I think kind of really boost the confidence. And then just, being able to be out there with different teams and, see the competition is, a cool thing. And I think that really helped me coming into this year.
How did you like Scottsdale while you were down there? Did you get to explore it all?
Yeah, we got to explore. I think last year was the first year they kind of put us up in places, and the Red Sox do an unbelievable job of player development, like not just player development, but like housing stuff. Make sure we have everything we need. So they put us in a great place right in Tempe, where Arizona State is, and everything in walking distance. Yeah, it was awesome. Like everything was in walking distance. The new Giants spring training was a very nice complex.
Is that walking stick, or did they change that to something else?
They changed it. We were just like at a single field. Like it was kind of just, I think, the major league spring training for the Giants. So it's just one field, but it was super nice. Got to experience all the other places, and so Scottsdale is obviously a great place to spend your off season, and it's just a good place to be in. And I think it really helped being there and seeing, kind of the other side of spring training fields down there. It's a little different. They're kind of combined over there while we're all so spread out down here and whatnot. So it was a cool experience to go over there and visit Scottsdale.
We talked to another member of your draft class, Brennan Salucci, last week, and we were picking his brain a little bit because you guys are Rule 5 eligible this winter. Is that something that's weighed on your mind at all?
I think it's something you can't control. It's not really even talked about. It's not like you can think about people talk about, you're going to get taken or you're going to get protected. When it happens, it happens. And, last year I was also eligible and, nothing happened. And then I think the transition to reliever, I understand there's a bunch of younger guys that need to be protected. And, that's kind of their priority. And the headspace for me is, it doesn't matter to me. Kind of just like I'm out there, I'm here right now doing as much as I can to, get my body right, do everything I can to show, I'm bought in and ready for a big year. So, whatever happens in the Rule 5 happens. If I go somewhere else, I go there and, show what I can do. But I gladly stay here and, kind of work my way up and hope for a big year.
Yeah, so you were drafted initially in the 37th round by Tampa Bay, and then you ended up going to college, pitched for 3 years, and got drafted in the 3rd round. Was there any consideration to signing with Tampa, or was it because back when there were 40, 48 rounds, I feel like teams could take more shots like that. Was there a serious conversation about signing with them?
No, if I remember right, I like day 1 and day 2 kind of passed, and I had already, kind of been thinking about the college route. I was going into college with like 24, 27 hours already done from high school. So I was kind of like a college first going into it. And when day 2 passed, I'd already committed to playing like a collegiate summer league. And I was on the plane out there when I got drafted. And the time difference with my scout was like he would call me and it'd be like a game or I'd be asleep or something. I'd call him, it'd be a different time. And I never actually talked to the scout that drafted me. And so it went through the wind. Like there's no chance I was going to sign anyways. And so I didn't have a conversation with them about money or anything. It was kind of like, if I didn't get the number I was looking for, I was gladly ready to go to college because it was pretty much home to me. And I wanted to experience, the Jayhawk, camaraderie.
Were you an academically inclined kid?
Yeah, I was pretty good academically in high school and college. I finished my last 9 hours after I got drafted my junior year during COVID. So I had 9 hours left coming out of my junior year. So I got, pretty good in college, got my stuff done and knew that having a degree was something that my family and I thought was a big thing in life. So I was pretty good with that in that
Yeah.
aspect.
Wow, 3 years. You blasted through there. What were you studying?
I was business management. I kind of would have gone maybe finance route if, baseball wasn't working, but I just went with business, kind of learned a lot about everything, numbers, and went that route. And, it's nice to finish college and, if you ever need to go back on something, you have something instead of having to go back to college. A lot of those kids that don't finish, the high school guys, it's really hard to go back after you've been out of college for
Yeah.
7, 8 years.
Do you come from like a baseball family?
I actually come from a football family. My both my uncles played collegiate football, one at KU, one at Louisiana Lafayette, and then the Louisiana Lafayette, Lafayette, he went on to play arena football for like 10, 12 years. He was actually
Oh,
in the movie
wow.
The Longest Yard. And then my mom was a two sport basketball and softball player at Washburn and Topeka. So my mom's side is very athletic.
Wow. Did you say The Longest Yard?
Yeah, he played a character in The Longest Yard.
It's actually kind of cool. That's a great movie. So
yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, it's go ahead if you got something.
No, I mean they played baseball growing up, and my mom was a really good softball player. So I mean, her being around and my uncles being around and everything, baseball clicked. I was a basketball guy, honestly, growing up. Like, wanted to go play at KU, and I was pretty good in high school, but obviously baseball was just kind of what was going to take me farther. So I played my senior year of high school, and then after that, baseball is the focus. So never actually played football. They were big football, everything, and I never got into it. So
it seems like you picked the right sport. So
so far.
I wanted to ask though, since we're talking about KU, but I was looking and I really don't see very many players coming out of Kansas program. I think I saw Gorzalani and Sam Freeman, a couple of recent ones.
Yep.
So what made you choose Kansas baseball?
Just, honestly, like growing up, always season tickets for basketball, just that's kind of who we grew up liking. K-State's the other close one, and, KU was the one that I grew up loving. And then just kind of, I visited a lot of Midwest schools, Oklahoma, Missouri State, Oklahoma State, more prestigious baseball programs. But it's like, if you're in the Big 12 and, you can compete, you're going to get seen at any school. And it's like, I wanted to kind of go to KU and show, you can do it no matter where you go. Maybe me coming would bring other kids from the state of Kansas to want to come to KU because, a lot of those big time, my Kansas high school class was like Riley Pine, Joey Wentz, a lot of big time names that they were obviously going out of state to go to college. So it's like, I just kind of wanted to see, people would follow and, try to get the program going in the right direction. And I think it has, but, it's so hard with just the weather in Kansas. It's just different for college baseball being at that time of the year in Kansas. So, but it was just the love for the school growing up. And, it's the best decision I ever made to go there for 3 years. So
where in Kansas did you grow up? You're listed as Topeka, but I'm not sure
if
I'm from Topeka. Okay, gotcha.
Yep, Topeka. So it's about 25 minutes from Lawrence.
Yeah, I've. Are you familiar with Kevin Hooper? He was like the manager. He was the manager of the Wichita Wingnuts, and he's from Lawrence, and was pretty.
Oh.
I don't know what he's doing with coaching now, but I talked to him years ago. He played for the Tigers for a little bit. But is there a big difference within the state between Wichita and Topeka and Kansas City and all those different places, or is it kind of just Kansas?
It's just Kansas. Everyone always tells me why do I want to be in Kansas, but it's just a small Lawrence is a great town, but we're just on the small kind of the small side of town. I just enjoy living where it's kind of more open, free. Not as busy. These big cities, they get so busy and everything. It's I see that and I'm like, I just like to go spend my off season in Kansas. Relax. Just hang out. And then I'd say like Topeka, Lawrence, Wichita are kind of all the same. But then when you get to Kansas City, it's pretty nice up there with, it's a bigger city. The Missouri side also, just the mix and match of the Kansas City side, the Kansas side and the Missouri side's always nice. Obviously the Chiefs are on the Missouri side, so you go up there for some barbecue and a football game, and it makes for a great weekend.
I'll agree with you on the barbecue thing.
Yeah.
I just had that argument with Hunter Dobbins. You said if you haven't had Texas barbecue, it's not real barbecue. But I told him don't sleep on KC and St. Louis. All right.
No, it's very good.
Not saying Texas is bad, but you got to at least try some St. Louis or KC. So
the burnt ends I got in KC were like were so much better than anywhere else.
They are. That the burnt end mac and cheese is the go-to at most places.
Oh man. I was gonna say I've heard from now 2 of your fellow pitchers in Portland tell us that you're a pretty big gamer.
Oh yeah.
And you're still on Fortnite, is what I'm hearing.
I'm on Fortnite. I know. Yeah, it's an old game, but I just love it. I love video games, in my free time. So, I'm looking forward to the new Call of Duty coming out here November 3rd. So,
oh yeah, I was gonna say, do you have a Twitch channel?
I don't stream. Kind of just the always moving around. The setup at home just isn't enough to kind of get it going and whatnot. I'm still on a PS5. One day when I get a house, settle in, get the nice setup stuff, I might have to do it because I'm pretty good at the show too, and a lot of us play that. So being able to stream some games while having some time in the off season would be fun. Get some other minor league or major league guys together for a tournament. I know like NFL does like a Super Bowl like kind of big tournament thing with pro video game players, and it's kind of a cool turnout. So I think that'd be something cool to have down the road, like a MLB mix and match with like Fortnite pros for a World Series tournament or something.
What was your first video game console, and what was the first game that you remember getting like really into?
I'd say I definitely had Nintendo 64. Was too young to really remember what game I played, but definitely like the PS1, PS2. We played a lot of NFL Street, MLB The Show, and then like Tony Hawk was a big game for me. I remember growing like when I first had it in the basement, and the PS2 was Tony Hawk, The Show, and NFL Street.
I find myself just randomly getting songs from the Tony Hawk soundtrack stuck in my head, just like at completely random times. So this is very relatable.
I honestly think I do too. I remember like a couple of the like just the theme songs, and like you hear it somewhere and you're like, where do I know that from? And you're like, wow, that's the Tony Hawk game I used to play 20 years ago.
I don't think I can relate to that one. I don't know why I never got in. I got into Skate, the Skate 2 and Skate 3. That was my era, I think, on Xbox. But never got into Tony Hawk. I don't know why. I want to ask you about something I also heard from another one of your pitchers. I want to ask about your ghost change. What is it, and why is it a thing?
Oh man, my ghost change. We've kind of gone away from it. I always threw a couple different change ups in college and first year pro ball, just kind of trying to find something that worked. And then, I think last year into this year, I just threw a change up that it looked like it moved, but when you get the numbers back, it really didn't move. It just stayed. It looks like it went up on the numbers or stayed straight, but they always swung through it. So we just ended up calling it the ghost change because it just disappeared out of nowhere. I'm pretty, when it comes to playing catch and stuff, I kind of mess around and kind of yell names of my pitches and stuff like that to make it fun. I'm kind of easygoing guy and have some fun with no matter what I'm doing. So I came up with the ghost change and kind of got in a little trouble throwing it in games with coaches and coordinators because it's not a pitch that's going to go get me going in the future, but sometimes you got to have fun with it.
Well, for people that aren't familiar with your style, how would you describe yourself as a pitcher? Like, what do you throw?
I'd say, I'm pretty much a power pitcher, kind of going into this year, I've always had the velo, and then this year really ticked up, but then it's like they brought to my attention that I throw a cutter and a sweeper, that those two kind of pitches grade out even higher than my fastball. So it's like knowing I have those stuff in the back pocket, trying to throw those more this year. So I think, going forward, it's like as a reliever, sometimes when you have a big fastball, you like to throw it, you like to show it off, but really it's like it's the swing and miss off speed that's kind of going to get you, move you in the right direction going forward, because any big league hitter can hit a fastball no matter how hard it is down the middle. It's like being able to locate that also, but then trust in the two good off speeds I have and be able to throw those at any time.
Are you in the Portland Fantasy Football League?
I'm not, no.
Okay, I didn't know if you had a story like Salucci did, where he's in the league with Epperson, and he was telling him that if he didn't take out Justin Jefferson, he was not going to let him start the game. So,
oh no, I'm not into fantasy football. So,
okay, smart man, by the way. It's not fun. But speaking of Portland, though, and you got to pitch in front of a lot of very good talent there, especially a ton of the top prospects in the system. What was it like just playing on the team there and playing with, and throwing to Kyle Teal and just having a lot of those top prospects and just good talent surrounding you?
Yeah, the message that was given to us a lot of the time is people come here and up to Portland, and, coordinators and everyone, and they just say, it's just different here, because we're always a close group, always laughing, always, everyone got along. So it was like just easy going, no matter how the games are going, locker room camaraderie, it was usually pretty good. So seeing those young guys, kind of grow, some of them, they're, immature, but still it's like they're starting to learn, they're starting to grow. And it's nice to see, the young core kind of show what they can do at such a young age. The game of baseball, they're just firing up young guys left and right now. It's like, being able for them to handle their duty at AA is a big thing. And, with Marcelo and Teal and Roman coming up and York, those guys really showed what they can do at the higher levels. I think that just shows, how the Red Sox really, handle guys and, teach the younger guys right now. Like, you guys, we're going to put you in tough situations to kind of see how you handle it and also how you handle handle the adversity with it. So I think, the team did a great job, and it was a fun team to be around this season. So I'm looking forward to spring training and seeing all those guys again.
Yeah, I mean, you were part of a bullpen that had some serious power arms that we haven't really, like you were definitely one of them. We haven't seen that through the system in a while. If you could take one pitch from any of your fellow relievers and add it to your arsenal, whose pitch would it be, and what would the pitch be?
I'd probably say, I'm honestly probably going to lean towards going to a splitter at some time, and Guerrero, throws a really good splitter, and so I think that pitch would be something that would be great for me to have, something that just drops off without, with them not liking the ghost change. I need something that can disappear down that they like. So I think, Guerrero throws a great splitter out to go along with his unreal fastball. So I think that'd be the pitch to kind of I'd want. And also I think Ryan Miller throws a really good sweeper, and I, worked on it all year to try and find a sweeper grip that, comes out good and looks good. So I think that would be another pitch as a kind of like a top tier sweeper, going forward.
And did you stay in contact with any of the guys that were down in Portland and ended up getting promoted to Worcester, and see like what their experience was like?
Yeah, me and Brian Van Bell are really close. We were roommates last year in Greenville, and then just on the road this year we were roommates. So just I like to stay in touch with him. I see how those guys are doing up there and whatnot. Nico's a good friend of mine, so just seeing how those guys are doing up there, and kind of picking their brain of, the games. How's it different up there? It's the game of baseball. It's the same no matter what, but just kind of, up there you got 10-year big league veterans in AAA. It's like, it's just consistency is the main thing that I kind of took from that is, being able to be consistent and not have those, snowball effect outings where it kind of goes the wrong way and you can't stop. It's those guys know what they're doing. And, if you kind of learn from that and kind of, when failure or something comes at you quick, being able to stop that and, get back on the right track is the biggest thing that he kind of told me.
And I wanted to follow up on that. So Myself and Ed spent a lot of time in the Woo Sox locker room this past season, and I got to talk to Taylor Broadway a lot and a few of the other guys. And Taylor Broadway's throwing partner was Jake Faria at the beginning of the year. Like you said, he's like, he's one of those vets that's played in the MLB. He's thrown a lot of innings. And Broadway was learning, a different slider grip and a couple other things. And then whenever Gambrel came up, it was the same way. I can't remember who his throwing partner was at the time, but it was one of the vets. And is that something that you guys do down in Portland? Do you guys, like if you have a throwing partner, you guys are like, oh, I see this and, or I throw it this way and it works for me type thing?
Yeah, I think that's a big thing is, you see someone throw something, you're like, you maybe throw the same pitch, but it's like you like the way that came out and you're like, hey, show me that grip, or, I want to go work on this on tech or something up there. And I think that's a big thing is, people were bouncing ideas off each other when they see it to try to better themselves with what other guys were throwing, like people throw the sweeper, I think is one of the hardest pitches to throw. And, you see a guy with a different grip and you've been kind of struggling with it, you kind of see what he does differently, and then you work on it in catch play, and then you go throw it in the bullpen and kind of see how it goes. So I think with just how close everyone was, I think it was easy to go up to someone and be like, hey, can you help me learn how you throw this? And everyone did a good job of, bouncing ideas off each other.
Ed, are you? I feel like you got something on your mind here.
I'm just looking at my my pregame notes here. So if you, I couldn't.
Pregame, I don't know. No,
That's, you don't refer to them as that. Whatever.
No.
If the ball gets hit, say you're pitching, ball gets hit. Which of your defenders do you want it to get hit to? Which fielder do you want that ball to go to for everybody you played with this year?
I think the obvious answer would be Rafi. I mean, he tracks down everything in center field, and he's just an unreal defender, unreal ball player. But the sleeper pick for me, I think, would be Chase Mydroth. Just he's got that bulldog in him, and just he has a nose for the ball, and he'll go make a play for you. And also, I can't forget about Tyler McDonough. I mean, he's going to go and lay his body on the line as much as anyone is out there to go and make a play for you, no matter if he's going to be 10 feet from it or, run face first into the wall. So I think those two guys, kind of smaller guys, but they got what it takes to be a major league defender.
Yeah, you're not the first one to mention Mydroth. I heard it wasn't a direct comparison, but there's a little Dustin Pedroia in him. It sounds like.
Oh yeah, there is. Just hard out. I mean, just a bulldog in him. He's gonna give it everything he got, no matter what what the game is. So.
I got some random questions for you. Some of my last ones I got. So if you're ready, they're non-baseball related, I think. So
I'm ready.
They're not too hard. How many Chiefs games have you been to in your lifetime?
Chiefs games, I'd probably say 20, 25, that range, Sometimes, I think last off season I only made it to one playoff game just because I was all over. But, throughout college and we'd get an off weekend, a bunch of us would go up there. And then my cousin and her husband have season tickets. So, they just had their second kid. So, sometimes I get to have their tickets, or a couple buddies are going. So I've been to quite a few games over the past probably I'd say 7 years.
And then if I was traveling to Kansas City, what place would you recommend for barbecue?
If I Jack Stack's an obvious one. I think, kind of a sit-down restaurant. But my go-to is Joe's Barbecue. It's like a gas station barbecue place. I mean, I think they have some of the best fries out there. They got some season on the fries. So I think that just goes best with barbecue is some good fries along with – I get a pulled pork sandwich there. So I think that's kind of a sneaky one for people to stop and get into. But Jack Stack is obviously another very good one.
And now, not talking about baseball in this next question, what was the number one hardest thing on getting acquainted to living in Portland, Maine?
Oh, just kind of just the weather. I mean, I've been in the cold, but sometimes just one day you got beautiful weather, and then the next day it's 20 degrees out. It's just like getting used to that, that water wind. I'm in Kansas. I don't have water within, 20 hours. So it's like that water off that ocean, that breeze kind of just at night or during warmups, it's a beautiful day. And then all of a sudden 12, 15-degree temperature drop. And it's like, you got to come prepared for the game. Also, I think the seafood for me was a big jump. I'm kind of a picky eater, but this is kind of the first year I went after seafood, and it's a great place to start liking seafood up there.
That's
What did
another
you find
question.
that you liked the most?
What spot?
Yeah.
Mine was
seafood.
High Roller.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mentioned that on one of our previous ones, by the way, the Dobbins. I'm pretty sure we asked him. My
The
fiance
lobster
loves that
grilled
place.
cheese. Oh, it's a good one. It's a great
There's always a
off-day-
line out the
off-day
door.
place. Oh, there's so many people there a lot of the time.
Yeah. That actually leads you. One of my final questions on the random ones is: did you ever order seafood living in the Midwest?
No. I think I've probably been to Red Lobster one time in my life, maybe for the biscuits, but I mean maybe some salmon some places, but no true seafood before really. I mean, a couple times here and there, like when I'm in Florida or somewhere else, but this last year was the first time I ate it, consistently weekly, I'd say. So it's a good experience. I enjoy it. I like getting out of my horizon with some.
We got you. You're back.
Sorry.
It's all good. Ed, did you have any final ones here? I got
I'm
one
surprised
more, but
you didn't ask him what you ask everybody.
yeah. Let's hear it actually. If you had to pick a fried chicken fast food place, what would it be?
I mean, mine's Cane's. That's
First
my
vote
Okay.
for
fried.
Canes.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really have like a specific one to Kansas. I'd say some places have they're kind of like maybe their own state one, but we don't really have that. So my go-to is Cane's. I love the cane sauce and everything. So anywhere I can go to a Cane's, like when we travel to the Northeast doesn't really have them. So I think we got out to Richmond, Virginia, and the first thing like five of us did was Uber 30 minutes to get some Cane's.
Did you grow up a Royals fan?
I did grow up a Royals fan, yeah. Getting the games for $5 when they're bad, and then the playoffs came around. It was great. So I was a huge Royals fan growing up. So
Who was your favorite player off of that championship team? Uh-oh.
sorry, it cut out?
Yeah. Who was your favorite player off of the championship team?
Mike Moustakis. That's I liked him a lot. Him, Hosmer, Gordon, everyone, just kind of the core three. Watching all those guys come up from the Royals system, and then that 14, 15, 16 years. It was a great time to watch them, and just playoff baseball atmosphere is awesome. So I mean, I haven't experienced anything like that. So.
And so one of my final questions I got for you is, going into this offseason, you just finished the year in AA. What kind of thing, do you have any goals in mind that you're looking to accomplish by spring training or anything just in regards to like weight or just anything?
Yeah, I'm actually, trying to do a good job of transforming my body. I'm kind of a bigger body guy. I'm trying to, get the right, the good weight. Is lose some fat, build some muscle, and really get myself into good shape and everything. And I'm kind of still dealing with knee stuff, so I'm down here, doing some treatment, recovery stuff right now, while also lifting, doing some throwing stuff, and a little bit of everything, until November 17th. So I think I kind of understood it was going to be a big off season for me, and I think being here has kind of really helped me get my feet wet. And then when I go home, I got to hit it hard and going to spring training ready to go and see what happens.
Well, Ed, if you got any final ones?
I'm good, but this was a lot of fun, man. It's nice getting to chat with you.
Yeah, thanks you guys for having me.
It's you're not a Twitter guy, so I got
hacked, so I didn't ever make a new one.
Okay. Yeah. I noticed you were just on Instagram, so it's nice though. It's nice it was a pleasure having you on. It's good to get to know you a little bit and getting to talk to some of the guys that we don't really hear from a lot. And Like, Christopher Troy these days, you're not on Twitter, but he is an open book on Twitter.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, you probably know his whole life by now.
We know his exact schedule right now in the AFL. Right? I could tell you when he's
Oh, I'm
sleeping, when
sure.
he's he's a good guy though. We like him.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
But we appreciate you coming on, Ryan, and we're definitely rooting for you as you go into this off season and spring training. But we're definitely going to be looking out for you.
No, thank you. Yeah, thank you guys for having me.